All right. Good morning, or good afternoon, maybe even perhaps good evening, depending on what part of the world you're joining us from today. Coach Kevin Sparks here, and let's go ahead and get started. First thing I'd like to do is go ahead and share my screen. That'll be helpful. First thing I'd like to point out is we have a Facebook group that coincides with /groups, that's plural, /money manifesting coach as one word. Again, that is facebook.com/groups /money manifesting coach as one word. Now, why would you want to join the Facebook group? Well, as you could tell, we are recording this meeting. And what we like to do is take the recordings, and typically within 24 to 48 hours of the meeting, we will get it posted here into the group. So as you can see, there we go. There's yesterday and there's the day before and so forth. So why do we do this? Well, let's say you're with us today. It's your first time maybe, or maybe it's not your first time. Okay. Maybe you've been with us for a little while, but maybe today is one where you're like, wow, that's awesome. I want to repeat some of that for my own purposes. Well, you can typically go again into the Facebook group because you're now a member and go ahead and review it. Or let's say, for instance, we're in the process of going through some material that takes more than a day. Let's say we're on a particular book or topic or whatnot, and instead of one day, it takes more than one day. Well, what you can do is you can go ahead. Let's say you're with us Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. For some reason, Thursday doesn't work for you, but Friday does. And so you want to catch up on Thursday. Well, again, you can come back here and find that. Speaking of material, I want to point out to you right now the material that we are going through right now. We jumped into it yesterday, and it's a book called The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy. And I am going to backspace here a moment. Just remember, we're on page 10. I'm going to backspace here for a moment and show you how I found it. So I typed in The Power of the Subconscious Mind PDF. That's all I did was go to Google and type that in. And then multiple options came up where you could get a free copy. I actually own it on Kindle and I own it on Audible, but sometimes if it's possible to find a free copy so I can let you guys follow along with what we're doing, I'll do that. So I found one here. Now, right here, it says The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, and then it says dash the Logo Center. I don't really care what the Logo Center is, but I went to the logocenter.org, this little link here. And when I went to it, it brought me directly to, there's the book. Okay. And so I went ahead and took the book and downloaded it to save it to my computer, which you can go ahead and do. Bring us back to page 10, though, where we left off yesterday. And I want to talk to you. This is something that we've chosen to go through, why I feel it's really important for everybody. We've been together now for a little over a month going through different things. The very first thing we went through was essentially the formula of how to manifest more money and wealth specifically into your life. The next thing we went through taught us about the laws that govern manifesting more money and wealth in your life. I said the word laws, not law. I said laws because a lot of people understand that there's this thing called the law of attraction, which, by the way, is actually a secondary law to the law of vibration. Okay. But there are actually 7 laws you need to be in alignment with if you're going to manifest the money and wealth you want into your life, as well as many other things. So we got the formula. We now understand the laws. And now there is another player in our life that will either help us or hurt us in our quest, okay, to actually truly manifest what it is that we want in our lives. And that is our subconscious mind. Our subconscious mind can be our greatest friend or our very worst enemy, depending on what the programs are that are running in it currently. If you have the desire to improve, and you've had that desire for a while now, your financial situation, and you feel like you're spinning your wheels, or you're feeling like you've hit a ceiling, or maybe you had a breakthrough and then you slid backwards after the breakthrough, and that breakthrough seems short term, it wasn't lasting for you. That is because you have programs in your subconscious mind that are in opposition to you receiving what it is you truly want. So what we want to do is understand how the subconscious mind works and how to reprogram ourselves for the success that we want. But when you get the formula correct, when you get the laws understood and obeyed, and you get your subconscious mind in alignment with what it is that you want to receive, do those three things and you will manifest absolutely what it is that you want in your life. So we're going to start here where we left off yesterday. Now we're going to have an opportunity to interact with each other. All right. Not while I'm doing this reading at the moment. If you start typing into chat or whatnot, just so you know, I'm not being obnoxious or rude by ignoring it. That is on purpose. What I'd like you to do is, whatever your question is, write it down somewhere, because we will have the opportunity to interact with each other. We try to save about 10, 15 minutes at the end for us to do that with each other. Okay. So you will have plenty of time to share what you want to share and or ask whatever questions that you want to ask. But for the moment, we're going to jump in and I'm going to start reading. You can follow along on the screen. I highly recommend you go download your own copy. One, to get caught up with this, you're just a day behind. But the other reason too is it's a very powerful book, and it would be good for you to have it to go over and over again, and not just this time with us. However, if you choose not to do it at the moment, or you choose not to do that at all, it's not the end of the world for today, because I'm sharing my screen with you so you will be able to see what it is that I'm reading and going through. And I have a sip of water here, and then I'm going to go ahead and start. Each has its own separate and distinct attributes and powers. Many names have been used to distinguish the two functions of the mind. These include the objective and the subjective mind, the conscious and the subconscious mind, the waking and the sleeping mind, the surface and the deep self, the voluntary and the involuntary mind, the male and the female mind, and many others. All of these, whatever their implications, are recognitions of this essential duality. Throughout this book, I use the terms conscious and subconscious to represent the dual nature of your mind. If another set of terms comes more easily for you, by all means use it. The important starting point is to recognize and acknowledge the double nature of the mind, the conscious and subconscious mind. A wonderful way to begin getting to know the two shall you reap in your body and environment. Imagine your subconscious mind as a bed of rich soil that will help all kinds of seeds to sprout and flourish, whether good or bad. If you sow thorns, will you gather grapes? If you sow thistles, will you harvest figs? Every thought is a cause, and every condition is an effect. This is the reason it is so essential that you take charge of your thoughts in the way you can bring forth only in that way you can bring forth only desirable conditions. Begin now to sow thoughts of peace and happiness, right action, goodwill, and prosperity. Think quietly and with conviction on these qualities. Accept them fully in your conscious reasoning When your mind thinks correctly, when you understand the truth, when the thoughts deposited in your subconscious mind are constructive, harmonious, and peaceful, the magic working power of your subconscious will respond. It will bring about harmonious conditions, agreeable surroundings, and the best of everything. Once you begin to control your thought processes, you can apply the powers of your subconscious to any problem or difficulty. You'll actually be consciously cooperating with the infinite power and omnipotent law that governs all things. Look around you, wherever you live, whatever circle of society you're a part of, you'll notice that the vast majority of people's lives, lives in the world without. Okay, vast majority of people's lives, should say live, I think, in the world without. Those who are more enlightened, however, are intensely involved with the world within. They realize, as you will too, that the world within creates the world without. Thoughts, feelings, and visualized imagery are the organizing principles of your experience. The world within is the only creative power. Everything you find in your world of expression has been created by you in the inner world of your mind, whether consciously, on purpose, or unconsciously. Once you learn the truth about the interaction of your conscious and subconscious minds, you will be able to transform your whole life. If you want to change existing conditions, you must change the cause. Most people try to change conditions and circumstances by working on those conditions and circumstances. This is a terrible waste of time and effort. Let me repeat this. Most people try to change conditions and circumstances by working on those conditions and circumstances. This is a terrible waste of time and effort. They fail to see that their conditions flow from a cause. To remove discord, confusion, lack, and limitation from your life, you must remove the cause. The cause is the way you use your conscious mind and the thoughts and images you encourage in it. Change the cause and you change the effect. It's just that simple. We all live in an unfathomable sea of infinite riches. Your subconscious is very sensitive to your conscious thoughts. Those conscious thoughts form the matrix through which the infinite intelligence, wisdom, vital forces, and energies of your subconscious flow. Shape that matrix in a more positive direction, and you redirect those infinite energies to your greater benefit. Each chapter of this book gives concrete, specific illustrations of how to apply the laws of mind. Once you learn to use these techniques, you will experience abundance instead of poverty, wisdom instead of superstition, and ignorance, peace instead of inner strife, success instead of failure, joy instead of sadness, light instead of darkness, harmony instead of discord, faith and confidence instead of fear. Could there be any more wonderful set of blessings than these? Most of the great scientists, artists, poets, singers, writers, and inventors have had a deep understanding of the workings of the conscious and subconscious minds. It was this that gave them the power to accomplish their goals. Spasms caused by intense fear while perspiration poured down his face. In just moments, he was supposed to go out on stage and sing before an eager audience of thousands. Trembling, he said, "I can't sing. They will laugh at me. My career is finished." He turned to go back to his dressing room. Then suddenly he stopped and shouted, "Through me." By the big me, Crusoe meant the limitless power and wisdom of his subconscious mind. He began to shout, "Get out, get out. The big me is going to sing." His subconscious mind responded by releasing the vital forces within him. When the call came, he walked out on stage and sang gloriously and majestically. The audience was enthralled. From what you've already learned, you can see that Crusoe understood the two levels of mind, conscious or rational, and the subconscious or irrational. Your subconscious mind is reactive. It responds to the nature of your thoughts. When your conscious mind, Crusoe's little me, is full of fear, worry, and anxiety, the negative emotions these create in your subconscious mind, the big me, are released. They flood the conscious mind with a sense of panic, foreboding, and despair. When this happens to you, you can follow the example of the great Crusoe. You can speak affirmatively and with a deep sense of authority to the irrational emotions generated in your deeper mind. You can say, "Be still, be quiet. I am in control. You must obey me. You are subject to my command. You cannot intrude where you do not belong." You will be fascinated to see what happens when you speak authoritatively and with conviction to the irrational movement of your deeper self. Your mind will be flooded with harmony and with peace. The subconscious is subject to the conscious mind. That is why it is called subconscious or subjective. Get a sip of water here. Understanding the differences in modes of operation. The conscious mind is like the navigator or captain at the bridge of a ship. He directs the ship. He sends others to men and women in the engine room. He sends orders to men and women in the engine room. They in turn control the boilers, instruments, gauges, and so on. The people in the engine room do not know where they're going. They follow orders. They would go on the rocks if the man on the bridge issued faulty or wrong instructions based on his findings with the compass, sextant, and other instruments. The people in the engine room obey him because he is in charge, because he is supposed to know what he's doing. The members of the crew do not talk back to the captain. In the same way, your conscious mind is the captain and the master of your ship, your body, your environment, and all your affairs. Your subconscious mind takes the orders you give it based upon what your conscious mind believes and accepts as true. It does not question the orders or the basis on which they're given. So again, your subconscious mind takes the orders you give it based upon what your conscious mind believes and accepts as true. So if you are not getting the results that you want, you need to change what your conscious mind believes and accepts as true, so it will impress upon the subconscious mind those things. If you're running into obstacles, that means you have an order that once upon a time was given by your conscious mind, maybe in a repetitive way. The order. Now, changing the order isn't always as simple as just saying it once, okay? But you can reprogram your subconscious mind to accept a new order to be true, which is, I am rich, or something like that. If you repeatedly say to yourself, I can't afford it, your subconscious mind takes you at your word. It sees to it that you will not be in a position to buy what you want. As long as you go on saying, I can't afford that car, that vacation, that home, you can be sure your subconscious mind will follow your orders. You will go through experiencing the lack of all these things, and you will believe the circumstances made it so. It will not occur to you that you have created those circumstances yourself by your own negative denying thoughts. Last Christmas Eve, a young woman named Nina W., who is a student at the University of Southern California, scrolled through an exclusive shopping area in Beverly Hills. Her mind was filled with anticipation. She was about to spend the holidays with her family in Buffalo, New York. As Nina passed a shop window, a beautiful Spanish leather shoulder bag caught her eye. She looked at it yearningly. Then she noticed the price tag and gasped. She was about to say to herself, I could never afford such an expensive bag. Then she remembered something she had heard me say at one of my lectures. Never finish a negative statement. Reverse it immediately, and wonders will happen in your life. Let me repeat that. Never finish a negative statement. Reverse it immediately, and wonders will happen in your life. Staring through the glass, she said, that bag is mine. It is for sale. I accept it mentally, and my subconscious sees to it that I receive it. Again, what did she choose to say instead? That bag is mine. It is for sale. I accept it mentally, and my subconscious sees to it that I receive it. Not that I will receive it, that I receive it. Will puts it off into the future forever. Later that day, Nina met her fiance for a send-off dinner. He arrived with an elegantly wrapped gift under his arm. Holding her breath, she unwrapped it. There was the identical leather shoulder bag she had looked at and identified as her own that same morning. She had filled her mind with the thought of expectancy. Then she turned the matter over to the deeper mind. She let God and the universe figure out how to make it happen, which has the power of accomplishment. Later, Nina told me, I didn't have the money to buy that bag, yet now it's mine. I've learned where to find money and all the things I need, and that is the treasure house of eternity within me. How her subconscious mind responded. A few months ago, I received a letter from a woman named Ruth A., who has attended my lectures. She wrote, I am 75 years old, a widow with a grown family. I was living alone on a small pension and Social Security. My life seemed barren, hopeless. Then I remembered your lecture about the powers of the subconscious mind, which connect you, by the way, with God and the universe. You said that ideas could be conveyed to the subconscious mind by repetition, faith, and expectancy. Could it be true? I decided to try. I had nothing to lose. I began to repeat frequently, with all the feeling I could muster, I am wanted, I am loved. I am happily married to a kind, loving, and spiritual-minded man. I am secure and fulfilled. I kept on doing this many times a day for about 2 weeks. One day at the corner drugstore, I was introduced to a retired pharmacist. I found him to be kind, understanding, and very religious. He was a perfect answer to mine, brought both of us together in divine order. Ruth discovered that the treasure house was within her. Her prayer was felt as true in her heart, and her affirmation sank down by osmosis into her subconscious mind, which is the creative medium. The moment she succeeded in bringing about a subjective embodiment, her subconscious mind brought about the answer through the law of attraction. Her deeper mind, full of wisdom and intelligence, and connected with God and the universe, brought her and her new husband together in divine order. Be sure that you think on this. Whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, if there be any praise, think on these things. So from what we've read up till now so far, some ideas worth remembering. The treasure house is within you. Look within for the answer to your heart's desire, because through your subconscious mind, you connect with God in the universe. The great secret possessed by the great men of all ages was their ability to contact and release the powers of their subconscious mind. You can do the same. Your subconscious has the answer to all problems. If you suggest to your subconscious mind prior to sleep, I want to get up at 6 a.m., it will awaken you at that exact time. Your subconscious mind is the builder of your body and can heal you. Lull yourself to sleep every night with the idea of perfect health, and your subconscious, being your faithful servant, will obey you. Every thought is a cause, and every condition is an effect. If you want to write a book, write a wonderful play. Give a better talk to your audience. Convey the idea lovingly and feelingly to your subconscious mind, and it will respond accordingly. You are like the captain navigating a ship. He or she must give the right orders, or the ship is wrecked. In the same way, you must give the right orders, thoughts, and images to your subconscious mind, which controls and governs all your experiences. So again, if you don't care for the results you currently have in your life, it's because the captain at one point or another gave a different order. Well, you may say, well, I didn't say that. Well, guess what? If you're listening to people outside of you, if you're watching things on the news, watching your environment around you, listening to what other people are saying, and you don't counteract that with your own desires, then your subconscious mind is going to say, well, that must be what the captain wants, and they will accept that as their new order. So you may be stuck because of what you've listened to over and over again, or what has been pounded into your mind by your environment and the things you've read and observed and listened to. So you're never use such expressions as, I can't afford it, or I can't do this. Your subconscious mind takes you at your word. It sees to it that you do not a belief is a thought in your mind. Do not believe in things that will harm or hurt you. Believe in the power of your subconscious to heal, inspire, strengthen, and prosper you. According to your belief, it is done unto you. Change your thoughts, and you change your destiny. So we're going to stop there for now, make a pause, and move forward to learn how the mind works tomorrow. All right. So it looks like some more people have joined us since we originally got started. Awesome to see you all here. Welcome, welcome. Glad to have you with us. And first thing I would like to share with you is just a couple quick thoughts. I've done a whole class, or I should say, with my thoughts on subconscious mind before. But let me share this with you. You need to understand the formula for manifesting money and wealth in your life if you want to do so. You need to understand the laws that govern the universe that work to help you manifest what it is you want in your life. Or if you don't understand them and you're disobeying them, not purposely.
Volume went out. Sorry.
Or not. Got my first training from him back in early 2006 from one of his coaches and facilitators. And after working together and going through the material and actually having a coach, not just trying to figure it out on my own, my income went from $5,000 to $6,000 a month. And this was January, February, March of 2006. It was February when I started going through the principles and getting the coaching, middle of February. By the time April 1st had rolled around, I'd quit my job. By the time May 1st rolled around, my income increased from May through the end of the year. Instead of being $5,000 to $6,000 a month, it went all the way up to an average of $50,000 a month. Wasn't 50 every month. Some months it was in the 30s. I had a month that I made $88,000. But the point is, as I reprogrammed myself and got the help I needed, there was a huge change in my life. The other thing is I'd been working 50, 60 hours a week. Now, ever since then, all the way till now, my average work week is about 15 to 20 hours a week. So think about that. My income rose by nearly 10 times to me. So that happened quite a few years ago. Well, a couple of years ago, Bob Proctor actually reached out to me through his organization of coaches that work together with Bob. But I'm bringing that up because you have the possibility to add $100,000 to your income in the next 12 months. Think about that. Now, I'm not saying you're going to add 100,000 because you just read a book and watch YouTube videos, but you could get my help to do that. We have a group coaching program that's working extremely well. The price is about to significantly increase. Currently, through the 15th of this month, it'll be $5,000. And after that, it's going to go up to $10,000. Why is it going up? Because everybody that we're working with, typically within 6 to 12 months, has added 6 figures to their income. So why not? They're getting the results, and that is just a function of getting the coaching and going down the path of retraining yourself. It may not even take that long to do it, but we give it that period of time just to make sure that we get you reprogrammed and get it all set in. If you're interested in working with me and doing something like that, reach out to me. My email address, just add coach to the front of my name, coachkevinsparks@gmail.com. Again, that's coachkevinsparks@gmail.com. We can have a discussion about this. Again, it's $5,000 right now, but Bob and his team, and I agree with them, said you are way undercharging for the results you have been getting people for the last couple of years. Way, way, way undercharging. So I'm putting it out there to you that I'm going to take their advice every time I have. It's been the right thing. And it's going to go up to $10,000 like many of the others are charging. But for the moment, you can still take advantage of it for $5,000 right now. If your income, let's say at the end of 12 months, your monthly income had increased by $10,000 a month or more, wouldn't that be worth it? So anyhow, just wanted to bring that up, not because I want to talk like this every day. Pretty soon we'll be at the 10,000. I won't bring it up anymore. But that gives you a chance literally to multiply potentially your income or your investment by 20 times in less than a year. Think about that for a moment. Take something, invest in yourself, multiply it by 20 times in less than a year. That's phenomenal. Okay, so what are we going to do right now? We're not going to discuss that anymore. You now have my email address. If you want to talk to me about it and work together, just let me know. CoachKevinSparks@gmail.com. What we're going to do right now, though, is give you the opportunity to share what you'd like to share or ask whatever questions you would like to ask. We do this each day, and it seems to be a very productive part of what we do. So what's appropriate to share? Well, anything in relationship to what we were studying today, maybe something you learned, something that was pointed out to you. This point, anything that you've taken to heart and applied in your life. The other things that are awesome to share are when you've intentionally decided you wanted something and you were able to successfully manifest it. Share those stories. It helps increase everybody's faith. Okay. Questions. What's an appropriate question to ask? Well, anything in relationship to the material we went over today, anything in relationship to the material we've gone over during the past month or so that we've been together. I think we're a month and a few days into working together on these things every day. And or anything in relationship to manifesting more money and wealth into your life is fair game as questions. So I highly recommend that you use this time wisely. And instead of giving us that, silence, if something's on your mind, share it. It's always better to share it. Nobody's going to pick you apart or laugh at you or anything. We're here to help you. And let's make this a productive day. So all you have to do is come off of mute now and share what you want to share or ask whatever question you want to ask. And we'll take you in the order that you do so. Thank you.
Hi, Kevin. So I'm still kind of confused about the subconscious and conscious mind.
Okay.
Is the subconscious mind the boss of the the conscious mind? Is that
No,
basically
no.
what it's?
No, it's not the boss. Your conscious mind is the boss, but your subconscious mind is what puts your life on autopilot. If you think about, and you really took the time to think about this, everything you do throughout the day, you don't really think much about what you're doing while you're doing it. Okay? Your subconscious mind was designed to take input, receive that input, and decide a few things for you. Subconscious mind has three purposes, and these are the three purposes for the subconscious mind. One, keep you alive. Okay? That's what it wants more than anything else, is for you to stay alive. So it's going to work to keep you alive. Like when you go to sleep, that's why you don't have to think about breathing or your heart pumping or any of that type of stuff. Your subconscious mind wants to keep you alive. Second thing it wants to do, it wants to keep you safe. But you have to understand that the subconscious mind does not judge good, bad, right, or wrong. It has a definition, a different definition of safe than what we do through like a Webster's dictionary. The subconscious mind defines safe as what is normal and common. Now, it doesn't know what's normal and common based upon any other thing than what is normal and common in your life. So if you've allowed a belief to come into yourself that is in opposition to what you really want, but it considers that thing to be normal and common, it will work to make that happen. So you could be in an abusive relationship, for instance, and you're wondering why you keep attracting the same type of people, especially when you're wanting to have a better relationship. Well, what happens is it says you may be getting even hurt and beat. Now, this sounds pretty awful, okay? But the subconscious mind, this is crazy, but the subconscious mind, when all said and done, said, okay, this person did not die. So that's the first thing it's looking for. The other thing it looks for is, are you allowing it to happen over and over and over again? Yes. Okay, that's normal. So now when a nice person comes along that would treat you well, subconscious mind goes, ooh, that is different. That's not what's normal. That's dangerous. Anything the subconscious mind thinks is not normal will consider at first to be dangerous until you prove to it otherwise. So this nice person that could be a wonderful partner in a relationship, your subconscious mind is not going to lead you to that person, or it will sabotage you in trying to build that relationship. What the subconscious mind will keep doing is bringing back the same Groundhog Day type person over and over and over again. So you have to reprogram yourself so your subconscious mind accepts a new thing to be normal. Once it accepts something to be normal, then it goes on autopilot. Okay, so that's the third thing the subconscious mind does, is it helps us master things. That's its actual purpose, so that we can continue to learn and grow and get better and do something else with our life. What do I mean by that? Let's take when you were going to school as a child. I use this all the time, but it's going to make sense. If I just say, what's 3 times 9? I know you're all on mute right now, but I'm talking to myself because it shut my mic off. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Apologize about that. They've been doing work around here to fix the internet problem, and obviously it's not fixed yet. Okay. But we'll continue on. So I think I spoke enough about that. You know, if you think about what happens too, is your subconscious mind. This is an example for my son. Every one of us has probably learned how to tie our shoes by now. Okay. And most of us probably do it by creating one loop and then wrapping around and tying. Okay. My son, when he was younger, learning to tie his shoes, I wasn't around helping them. And my wife was, but she wasn't paying full attention to what he was doing either. But he ended up doing the 2-loop method. Okay. To this day, my son cannot tie his shoes any other way than the 2-loop method, which is we know how to do it, but for most of us, that's actually more awkward. Okay. Another thing, when it comes to neckties, my son and I, similar thing. There's multiple ways to tie a necktie, but I've tied the necktie the same way so many times that it's actually difficult for me to tie it a different way. Same thing for my son. Why? Because the subconscious mind says this is what's normal and it puts it on autopilot. So I don't have to think anymore about tying neckties. Or when somebody comes up with the times tables, as long as it's within 12 by 12, I can spit out the answer. And that's what I'm going to use most of the time anyway. So your subconscious mind is designed to help you learn something like what we're learning here, reprogram yourself so it becomes autopilot, like wealth and prosperity or good relationships or whatever it is that's been eluding you and for now, to reprogram yourself to accept that as the new normal. And once it will accept something to be normal, it then actually goes and does it on autopilot for you and assures that you get what you want. So hopefully, does that help you understand the subconscious mind just a little bit better and what it does?
Yes, but okay, so if the subconscious mind has to be doing the reprogramming.
The conscious mind reprograms the subconscious mind.
Okay.
You have to use your conscious mind. So you have to think about it just like when you had to think about tying your shoe when you didn't know how, when you had to think about the times tables when you didn't know them, and any other thing that you now do in your life that's driving a car possibly is now autopilot for most people. Okay. There's so many things in our life that when we were young, we did not know how to do. As we got older, we learned it, and then it becomes autopilot because it's so repetitive. The subconscious mind goes, okay, here's what's normal. I'll take over from here. So you have to use your conscious mind to decide what goes into your subconscious mind. And there's ways going about doing that that work more efficiently and more successfully than others. And we're not quite that far, obviously, in the book to do that right here. But I can tell you that you have to, if you want what you want in life, particularly if money and wealth is in relationship to it, but practically anything, you need to know the formulas for that. So Science of Getting Rich is a book I highly recommend that you master. The next book I highly recommend you master talks about the laws. That's Hidden Treasures, which we just finished up. And then getting your programming to accept what it is that you truly want to be what's normal for you, so it puts it on autopilot. That's what the power of the subconscious mind is going to help with that we're going through right now. However, trying to do it on your own, just like when I tried, and everybody has, okay? We've all tried YouTube University, okay? We've all Googled everything, and we've maybe even paid for a seminar. We maybe even paid significant money for a seminar. By the way, my coaching and a seminar, not the same thing, not even close. A seminar is something that can get you motivated. You could learn something, you could grow, you could maybe even have a short-term successful leap. But the problem with the seminar is that when it's done, you're not there with the person who is teaching it. So at the end of the seminar, you are left with yourself, and you don't know what you don't know, and you don't know what your blind spots are. Just like any professional in the world gets a coach, it would behoove people to get a coach to understand that has already successfully applied the principles and understand how they work, to help you get through it and to help you get through it faster. You may figure it out, but what if it takes you 4 or 5, 6 years to figure it out on your own? when you could have figured it out or something like that. Do I want to go to college for the next 7 years, or do I want to get my degree in 6 months? Because that's kind of what's going to happen and what it was happening for me before I got that help. I was stuck at a lifestyle and an income level that had been the same for the previous 4 years, $5,000 to $6,000 a month, 50, 60 hours a week. It literally took a matter of just a few months, and then it went down to 20 to 15 hours a week and $50,000+ a month, just because I took that step and got the help instead of trying to do it on my own and rely on YouTube University. So I recommend that you make that choice at some point. It would be nice to do it now, but if you don't, that's okay. If you go through the material that I'm sharing with you is a lot of the material that I would use even in helping to coach somebody. Obviously the principles are going to be there. But again, if we could all, how many people actually go to school, you know, when you went to, if you had gone through, you know, elementary school through high school, and you never were in a class with a teacher with any interaction, and all you were given was a book or a video to watch from time to time, do you think you would have made it successfully through? That's the same reason college does what it does, right? I don't think they're the best way of training people. There's not enough repetitiveness in the things that they do to reprogram someone. And that's why we don't learn all that much until we specialize. Then when we decide to become a doctor, we get really, really, really serious, because if you're working on somebody in surgery, they're not going to let you touch a scalpel until you have gone through a lot of training and a lot of repetitiveness and a lot of proof that, and you are going to have a coach, another doctor right beside you to make sure that you don't stick that scalpel in the wrong place. Okay. So you can go the fast way, or you could take the slower way. Eventually, either in this life or the life hereafter, we'll figure it out, but I would rather figure it out earlier than later. And I wish I would have figured it out much sooner. I've been helping people now sometimes that are in their ages or in their 20s, and they're getting this and they're becoming wealthy really, really fast. Cool thing is I'm also helping people that are 70+ years old. So once you learn it though, you've got it forever, which is awesome. Any other questions or comments?
Me, I wanted to add to what Maria was saying, or just give an explanation of how I understand the conscious and unconscious mind.
Okay.
The conscious mind, the thoughts that you have with your conscious mind, the one you're always thinking with, it influences the unconscious mind. So whatever you want or whatever you desire, you can constantly think about that, and then it is like recorded in your subconscious mind. That's how I understand it. But I wanted to ask you, Kevin, when you're dealing with present or immediate situations that are undesirable to you, do you completely become detached from the present and like keep visualizing or thinking about what you really want or your desires, or you think about the present moment but kind of visualize an optimistic outcome? What would be your recommended suggestion? Can't hear you. Sorry. Can't hear you. Can't anyone else hear?
Okay. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, now we can.
Okay. Sorry about that. All right. So
Can't hear you again. Sorry.
it is evolved for me. Okay. Now can you guys hear me now? Okay.
We can. Sometimes you sound really warped, like, but now we can.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that. I wonder if God wants that answer for you. No, I'm just kidding. Uh, of course, God, the universe want you to know the answer to that question. So I would say, what I would say is it's evolved for me. Okay. I stay focused on the big picture. I stay focused on the main thing, the lifestyle that I want to live, or whatever it is that is the bigger thing I'm going through. Let me try something here. Get out of full screen. Maybe I can switch my internet. setting.
Not hearing anything for quite some time.
Yeah, neither can I.
Hey, I can hear you guys now. Can you hear me?
Now we can hear you. Well, now I can.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you've been breaking in and out quite a bit.
Yeah. There's two different routers here, two different signals. I switched. The computer switched all on its own when the other
This
one. So hopefully this will stay okay for now. All right, to answer your question, I stay focused on the big picture of what it is that I want. Something pops up, it's something I need to deal with immediately. This is actually sometimes the easiest stuff to deal with, because I'm like, hey, dear Heavenly, and I pray, I meditate, and I'll say it in this way: Dear Heavenly Father, you know that I'm trying to do what I'm supposed to do and stay focused on what it is that I truly want to manifest. Here's something that has just popped up for me. I know it's not necessarily part of the big picture, so I'm going to trust that it's going to take care of itself quickly. If there's anything that you think that I should do right now to take care of it, let me know. If not, I'm going to go back and focus on the main thing that I'm trying to do.
Wonderful.
Yep. And then when an idea or thought comes, but I leave it. One of the things you're going to have a challenge doing, but you're going to have to do, is you're going to have to learn to ignore your five senses.
Yeah.
You're going to have to take those and go, that's not real. That's input, but I'm choosing my own input. I don't like that input. Therefore, I'm going to ignore that input and create my own through my imagination, sometimes referred to as the fourth dimension. And I will go live with the input that I want and put that in through intention, the decision, because I'm not wishy-washy about it. When I was wishy-washy about it, different story. But I'm not wishy-washy about what I want my life to be like and what I'm striving for. Therefore, I only come out of the fourth dimension when something does pop up like that. And when I say only, I spend most of my time living without focusing on my five senses. And if I'm going to be doing something that's going to affect my five senses, and I know it, I'm going to ask myself, is the input I'm allowing, because allowing input is the same thing as saying it to myself. See, that's what you don't know so far is, okay, I could tell myself, but if I'm trying to reprogram myself, but I'm allowing other input in that's in opposition to what I'm trying to reprogram also, then I have that other problem, right? Yeah. So I have the ability to accept or reject any idea when it first comes to me. And then I can accept or reject it, accept or reject it. Eventually, if poverty is what I'm rejecting, my mind won't see poverty any longer. But if I don't choose to reject it when it's coming at me for a while and I'm wishy-washy about it, it'll enter my subconscious mind as, well, Kevin accepts that as normal, therefore he's going to live in poverty. Versus Kevin has accepted being wealthy and having money show up on a regular basis and not have to work hard for it, then that's what's going to show up for me. And that's what has. Hopefully you guys could hear some of that.
No, I can hear that. I definitely appreciate. One thing I appreciate about this session that you put on is that you talk a lot about God. I'm not necessarily religious, but I do believe in God. So I definitely appreciate including God and praying and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, cool.
Kevin, when you, oh,
Yeah.
sorry, were you going? When you reject something, do you do like what we read today when it's like never finish a negative statement, reverse it immediately and wonders will happen? Is that what you do? Do you reverse it? Is that
mostly,
Okay, cool.
or I do a little bit like what Caruso did. Hey, that's not true. That's bull crap. That's not what I want in my life. Therefore, and then I pivot. Here's what I want. Here's what's true. Here's what's real.
I like that.
Kevin, isn't there like other things that you kind of combine with not just thinking, such as like emotion and I'm not sure what else?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's spaced repetition is part of it. That's why you can't just only take one day. Now, Caruso, he didn't have 3 days before he was going to be on stage, but he also was probably telling himself pretty good stuff for the 3 days. It hit him when he hit just before going on stage. His subconscious mind started screwing around with him, even though he'd been on stage before. But for some reason, that moment, he was like, oh my gosh, nothing's going to come out. I'm tightening up. But then he recognized the same thing that allowed him to become a great singer. That same power within him could help him overcome this challenge. And he needed it to happen right then. So he pushed through an ounce of force, but he's like, you know what, shut up. This is the way it's going to be. I'm in charge here and this is what's going to happen. And I do that from time to time. It just depends on the situation and how necessary it is. But what I don't do is wallow in whatever thought it is for very long, because I recognize that if I wallow too long and I make it a habit, then my subconscious mind's going to accept that thought as normal. And I don't want it to go on autopilot for me in that area. So I better, be diligent about telling myself what I want to believe and have happen versus either telling myself or allowing others to tell me anything different than what I truly want. Hopefully you guys heard that.
We did. It's kind of interesting.
Okay.
My sister actually sent me some books from New York and I just picked it up yesterday. And the book that we're reading now happens to be one of the books that she sent as well. Not sure if that was a coincidence, but I started reading last night.
No,
I'm
it's
sorry.
not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence.
Perfect.
Matter of fact, that's one of the things that we'll say to ourselves. Anytime something happens that's positive in your life, quit calling it a coincidence. Actually allow yourself and tell your subconscious mind accepts that, hey, you have the ability to do that. You say it's coincidence, subconscious mind goes, coincidence. So it's not something you have the ability to do anytime you want. It just pops up kind of randomly versus on purpose. So you were in the right vibration, and that's why it got sent to you, because this was something that you're in vibration with right now.
That's me too, because I have to say the environment I'm living in is very negative. So I needed this book.
Well, your environment, it's your house. It's you and your husband. If you got people in your house, family or whatnot, and you're together, go ahead and create the change, create a new environment. And you could say, well, I can't move. Just make the intention to change your environment. And for now, imagine yourself using your imagination with the decision and the intention to make the change, that you are living in an environment that's conducive to wealth, conducive to things being positive. We all have the ability to change our environment. Remember the cause effect thing that Joseph Murphy was talking about in this lesson. Thought is the cause. So whatever environment any of us are in, whether we like it or not, we, via implanting into our subconscious mind certain thoughts of what's normal for us, have created the situation that we're in. We will never out manifest our self-image. Therefore, what we need to change is our thoughts about ourselves and what we're capable of and who we really are. Until we actually believe and feel that we are who we want to be, it's not going to actually happen. But we are all capable of so much more than we haven't done and we're doing so far. Everybody here can have what they want. And God gave you the tool to help you get it. God helps you, the universe helps you, but he gave us a tool called the subconscious mind that says, look, get your subconscious mind to accept what you want as normal, and it goes on autopilot and make sure you get it. But
Yes.
you have to use your imagination to do it, and you have to learn to ignore your five senses. You can't keep staring at the empty checkbook or the empty bank account and feel good about it. So quit looking at it. Go imagine a different one, okay? But don't stare at the one that you got. And maybe for a while, don't even think about the new one so much, because now you're really fighting with yourself. Just go think about something that makes you feel good and happy. When you feel good and happy, you're open to receive inspiration, intuition, and revelation via your subconscious mind from God and the universe that will guide and direct you to help you get to where you want to get to and receive what you want to receive.
Perfect. Yes. And then try to get the daughter to follow that as well. And then it wouldn't be too negative.
I don't know how how who's home, how it works or whatever, but you, in my opinion, spend very little time around her if you're capable of doing that. For now.
Kevin, I also had a question about the book that we read last week, one of the last chapters. We're discussing another book now. Should I send you a message on Facebook or?
No, just go ahead. What do you got? What's your question?
Right. So there was this part about this lady that wanted to win the lottery, and she kept praying and hoping, and she kept losing everything, despite wanting to win the lottery. And then when she prayed, God said she didn't buy a lottery ticket. Was that a metaphor, or didn't she literally didn't buy a ticket?
No, this was a metaphor.
Oh, it was a metaphor.
It was a metaphor, kind of like I don't know if you've heard the metaphor of the flood.
The Noah's Ark?
Yeah, so basically the metaphor of the flood is there are people living in an area and there's this huge storm coming and the ocean waves are rising. By the way, this happens in the US from time to time. So you probably know that. So this flood is coming, but the person in the house and the family, the household, they're there and they're going, hey, you know what? The police put out the announcement, hey, get your butts out of here, and they're like, no, we're going to stay here.
Has it frozen for anyone else?
Yes, it's frozen for me.
Yes.
Yes, frozen.
I think his camera and mic went out. Oop. It says I'm now the host. How do I undo this?
Oh, wow, that's weird.
I have no clue how that happened.
Kevin's completely gone. So I don't know if that's our cue to get
Yeah.
off.
Right.
Right.
I think it is, and I think we went over, so I guess we'll just meet next week.
Okay. Have a good day, everyone.
Have a good day, everyone.
See you guys tomorrow.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.